So I'm working on my Inktober prompt, and today was fish. And so I have been all over the place with this. I ended up doing ink and then putting watercolor on top. But then I had tried something else here and I didn't like it, so I ended up putting black gesso. And the reason I'm doing the video is because maybe, you know, you'll learn something from it, as I've learned today from using this. So once I did the black gesso, I went ahead and I used my Neo colors from Karan Diach. I never say it right. Anyway, and I started coloring in these fish because I was trying to tie it in to this girl with a fish on her head, and I was trying to do an underwater theme. So this is what it looks like with the Neo colors right on top of the gesso, on top of the black gesso. And then I got like black ink and I just did those little lines. But I also have absorbent ground, which I had bought recently for a Wonderlust class, and I really haven't used it yet. So what I really wanted to try to do is bring in these watercolors, these vibrant colors into these fish, but because the gesso is dark black and the Neo color isn't as vibrant, it's like a very muted color, which I guess would be okay if that was what I was going for, but I kind of want to have both pages kind of be a little bit cohesive with the brightness. So I am right now putting the absorbent ground. I'm going to let it dry. I put it only on the edges of the fish, and then I'm going to try to put watercolor on that and see if it works. Okay, like I said before, this is just a hot mess of a painting that I'm doing for Inktober day one with some new products. I probably should have practiced with them before, but I didn't. So anyway, I've just coated these fish that I had shown you before that had the Neo color. I coated them with absorbing ground. I tested it, it did work. And so now I'm going back and painting them with the Vivica sheets to kind of match this side. So I just want to show you how that's gonna, you see? And if you remember, what I mentioned before is that I had gessoed, I had put black gesso on the background of the page because on the opposite page I had painted something that just I did not like at all. So I decided to paint over it in black gesso, and then I wanted to tie it into this. And I had used the Neo color, which did work on top of the black gesso, but were not as vibrant. And I wanted to kind of have these same colors that I had on the girl's face. So that's why I did that. And that's why I then went ahead and used the absorbent ground over the black gesso so that I can paint with watercolor. Now, I really have never used absorbent ground before. In theory, I knew what it's supposed to do. I'm very happy that it is working a lot nicer than I thought, even though this is just like a hot mess in general of work because, you know, I didn't really think it through. But I'm just trying to show you how you can sort of fix something like this if you have gesso and if you have absorbent ground, how you can tie the pages together if you were using watercolor and you wanted to tie something else in but you had messed up the other page. So now I'm just applying the Happy Yellow, that's the color, and these are the Viviva color watercolor sheets that came with my Inktober. This year I ordered one of the kits. They had different kits, but, and this is the book. And so the book was also, I guess, my first issue today. The pages were not really good for me with the ink. I found it, you know, when I don't know, and with the watercolor, when I sketched on it, erasing it would remove basically the page. So today's just been an all-day kind of learning how to use these properly. Hopefully tomorrow, since I have more practice with the materials, will come out a lot better. I have to say, every year though that I do the October challenge, you know, some of the paintings or the drawings I like, and some of them are just terrible. But the whole point is to just practice your sketching every day. And so this year I wanted to really push myself and not do something very easy. I wanted to work with actual portraits or faces of people instead of just objects. So that's probably the first part of why this was a mess. Because I started sketching her on the other page, didn't like it, and then started sketching her again. But because the paper is not, I don't know, I personally didn't like it too much to do erasing. It kind of started ripping and lifting, so I have to think of something else for tomorrow. Maybe doing it on another paper and then transferring what I want onto this book, because I already bought the book for the whole month challenge, so I kind of want to use the same book. But like I said, I got to figure that out. And you know, I also was practicing today on using ink, which is not something, you know, I've used ink in some of my paintings before, but never like controlled ink with quill. Am I saying it right? And so that in itself was a learning process for me today. So yeah, even though I don't like everything about what I've done today, probably learned more today than I have in a long time when it comes to art. Using some of these materials and trying to not give up and trying to fix what I don't like with stuff that I have around the house that I've never used, like absorbing brown. And so now I'm just gonna wait for this to dry, and then I'm gonna do the eyeballs. I guess I could do the eyeballs now. I'm trying to use just the set here, so I'm gonna use the slate black. Hopefully I do not mess this up. I'm trying to remember where I had the eyeballs before. Sorta, kinda. Still kind of wet. I should probably wait, and then I'll do some details. All right, so I've painted a little bit more of the fish. I kind of tried to dry it with my little blower. I really have spent more time than I needed to today on this. Now I'm just doing some of the outlines. I decided not to use the ink quill again right now, because I don't want to scratch the gesso, the black gesso. I kind of just want to be done. And this is my attempt at trying to fix this. So I'll try to do some videos this month of the different things that I do for Inktober. Can't promise that they're all going to be fantastic. Obviously, look at this one. But I'll be honest about what I learned. Let's see. You probably might be wondering why I drew this in the first place. So this is what it started with this morning. I had a picture. The word was fish today. So I had a picture of my daughter when she was really small fishing, and she was like in shock because she actually caught a shark, a small baby shark. And that picture was taken when when she had just noticed that she got something on the line. So I was gonna use that picture, but because I had issues with the paper, I decided to just focus just on the face. And then I had another picture that we had taken in the keys of these aquariums, tanks, fish tanks. I think it was at the diving museum that they have in the keys. And you get behind the picture, I mean, you get behind the tank, and you know, you can see your face through the water. And so I got and I had those pictures, so I got the idea of just making it like she's in the tank with the fish. And that's why she has a fish on her head, and these fish are swimming around. And, you know, that's what I ended up doing. I could fix these bubbles a little bit more, but just honestly, I have other things that I have to get to today. So I think we are going to call it quits. Let me zoom out so you can see the total picture and see what the fish look like painted on the gesso with the absorbent ground on top and watercolor. And then on this side, it was just the paper with ink, which I did this, and that was interesting. And then I, once it was dry, I put watercolor. And then I had to try to put them together, so that's why I ended up using the absorbent ground, because the neo colors were not bright enough on this black gesso. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my rantings and ravings of my first day of Inktober, and hopefully tomorrow's better. See you tomorrow.